to the first ever Bluegrass Basketball video. We're going to still put it on our podcast for you audio listeners that listen to it from work. But Jon has braved the elements.
That's right.
To get to Johnson County so we could record this. We're actually at Johnson Central Hospital this week. We wanted to use the gym, but the girls basketball team is having practice today. We're going to try and maybe visit a few schools as time passes and maybe get a few
I've
interviews.
got a feeling I'll end up in the mountains every week.
We only got a couple weeks left anyway. Maybe we could go to Dunbar.
I don't work there anymore.
I know that. But we could get cut short.
I know a guy. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a guy. So, we got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Jon and I kind of sat here and prepared. We got our top 5, our player of the week, all that good stuff that you like hearing week in and week out. But we're going to do some district tournament talk and maybe some games to watch. So,
I think the first one we're going to talk about, at least it comes to my mind, is the 8th district, which is we've talked about before with Hopkinsville, University Heights, and Christian County. They played the second round of those games this week, and University Heights beat Hopkinsville for the second time, and then Christian County beat Hopkinsville and University Heights for the second time. So Christian County will be the 1,
right?
And then that dreaded
2-3 games.
We shouldn't have them. We shouldn't have them, should we? Shouldn't have 2-3 games anymore. Anyway,
those are the
University
most
Heights.
fun games.
No, they're not. They're not relevant. Just ask
Oh,
people
I love
that write in the newspaper. Anyway, so
But you know, it's not just one person. You've got several people that are anti-district tournament.
well, there
It
it is.
surprises me.
No, they're wrong. Anyway, so Heights and Hopkinsville will play each other in a 2-3 game, which will be the third time that they play.
Okay.
Obviously, like I said before, Heights has won both games.
It's hard to win that third, though.
It is. It's hard, and Hopkinsville's a good team, and the old cliche of it's hard to beat a good team 3 times, you know. So I think that's an interesting one to look forward to. Obviously, Christian County took care of business and got the 1 seed, which is obviously that's one of those districts where the 1 seed's absolutely just huge. And the second game this week between Christian County and Hoptown was a 2-point game. Christian County won by 2.
Right.
So you know that's a big momentum swing. As far as that goes,
I think the 8th district is going to be a great tournament to see.
it is. I think every year you talk about it, it's one of the top districts in the state, and obviously, you know, the western part of the state doesn't get as much attention as some other parts of our state does. But
I think you and I both, though, we enjoy Western Kentucky basketball.
oh, I do.
More than most people.
Right.
I mean, you went to Western. I
spent a lot of time in there.
I've got a lot of connections kind of out that way, E-Town,
Right.
and I do. We keep in contact with Chris Young, and he keeps us updated on what's going
Right.
on out there, even though we don't get to go as often as we'd like.
Well, I think if you go back, the winner of that region, of the second region, has come from that district ridiculous amounts of time,
yeah.
like 10 years in a row. I mean, there's been times when Christian County's won the district and Hopkinsville's won the region.
Right.
You know, so just because one of those 3 wins the district doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to win the region. But you look for whoever's in the finals of that district, you're probably looking at, you know, a rematch in the regional championship.
Right.
So, you know, that's something you definitely want to talk about. I think, you know, some snow and some weather had a lot of games get pushed back, and you have to have your district games done by the end of this past week because, you know, we're getting to be that time of the year. It's our last.
Well, you're looking at people that had to have 3 and 4 games last week because
There was a lot of teams that recently have played. You know, I've seen a lot of 4 and 5 days, 4 games in 5 days kind of deal. We had to do that a couple weeks ago, so you know. But overall, we had about a week or 2 of bad weather around the state. But for the most part, I think we dodged some bullets so far this year.
Well, snow days.
Yes. Yes.
You've got a couple of Lexington local schools you want to talk about as far as like district matchups.
Yeah. Also, I want to talk about the 21st district, which is in the 6th region. That's PRP, Fairdale Valley, which, you know, I think coming into the year, a lot of people had PRP as one of the better, you know, top team. They were ranked top 20 in the state preseason. And, you know, Valley's got a couple kids that are really good that are under the radar. And, of course, they're coached by DeJuan Wheat, who former U of L, you know, standout.
Right.
So, and I'm not sure people would have expected it, but Fairdale actually got the 1 seed. Came through and won a lot of games head-to-head. So
yeah, I wouldn't have called that early on.
No, you know, so that means Valley and PRP are going to be playing in a 2-3 game. Fairdale gets the bye, and we'll play the winner of Holy Cross and Beth Haven. So, you know, Fairdale's looking pretty good as far as getting on to the regional tournament there in the 6th region. And I think, we talk a lot about the 7th region with Trinity and Ballard every year. But this year, the 6th region, I think at the beginning of the year, people were talking about Fern Creek. We're going to run away with it. But you look now and you got your Butlers, you got your Doss, you got your Fern Creek, you got
It's all kind of
Valley,
an even playing field.
PRP,
Yeah.
Fairdale. You got a lot of good teams that are,
Trading
that have a
some wins
chance.
and losses.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's probably about 4 or 5 teams that could win that region, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Right.
So I don't think it's as cut and dry as everybody thought at the beginning of the year. A lot of people were talking about Fern Creek, not necessarily just winning the region. They were a state championship contender, and they
Right.
still are.
Yeah.
But I think the 6th region's really wide open. So I look at the 21st district, and
Well, you and I were big on Fern Creek actually being number 1 for a while. I mean,
they won the
that doesn't
KLB.
mean doesn't mean we're fans,
No,
but we
right.
thought that they kind of just had it in the bag,
Right.
and that's changed a
Right.
lot
Right.
in the last few weeks.
So you look at Valley and PRP are going to be playing each other, and one of those 2 teams will not go to the regional tournament, and the
Yep.
district is hosted at Valley.
Oh, well, that's a game changer.
That's a big time game changer. That's where they play the LIT now. With new gym, a couple years old, really nice facility.
There's
So
nothing like having that advantage of hosting a district tournament at your place,
no,
and that could totally change your season
Definitely.
because you could be having a rough year, but kind of still be in the mix.
well, if you're in that 2-3 game and you're
Yeah.
the 3 and you're the host, that
Yes.
definitely can change
That
a lot of
that
things.
gives
So
you a lot of momentum for sure.
right. Moving on, district the 42nd district, which is the Scott County. We've talked about Scott County and Bryan Station a lot this year. Obviously, Scott County swept Bryan Station in the regular season, so Scott County's the 1, Bryan Station's the 2, and they will be playing Henry Clay in the 2-3 game. And Henry Clay's
gonna
one
be
of those
tough.
teams.
Yep.
We talked about how well, and we're going to talk a little bit more
Who
about.
hosts it this year?
It's at Frederick Douglass,
Okay.
and then so Frederick Douglass is the 4 seed, Sayer's the 5. That's
Right.
one of those 5-team districts. So the Sayer Douglass winner will go and get to play Scott County.
Right.
But Henry Clay's one of those teams. You look at them, and we're going to talk a little bit about Madison Central here in a little while, and they've been reeling off a lot of good wins.
Yes,
But right in between all those good wins was a loss to Henry Clay.
that's true.
And then Henry Clay's lost twice to Dunbar, and Dunbar is not what they usually are. So Henry Clay, Bryan Station, they played twice. The first time at Henry Clay was the first week of the season, and Bryan Station popped them pretty good. The second time at Bryan Station, it was a late free throw for Bryan Station to win by 1. So, you look at that, and
I'd like to know who shot that free throw. It would be awesome because the
Terrence Clayton Murphy,
Oh, he shot the free
he
throw?
shot the free. It was a tie game, and he drove the basket and got fouled. Missed the first, made the second.
Well, congratulations to him. That's a big win.
Yeah, that's good for him.
That's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure. And that was when they were still undefeated against in-state competition, so it was one of those things where they were trying to
Well,
hold
and
off.
missing the front end, it makes
Oh,
you even more
man.
nervous to make that second one.
Yeah,
So,
but so I look at that, Henry Clay, Bryan Station in the 42nd, which is just 2 historically really good programs. Bryan Station has had a really good year. They've kind of cooled down a little bit lately.
not a good time to do that, though.
But they did pick up a big win this week. They beat Pulaski County. So, Pulaski's one of the top teams in the 12, has Stephen Fitzgerald, Mr. Basketball candidate. So
Right.
they were able to get by them. So that's one that sticks out. But, I got to go back to the 43rd district, which in my opinion, the toughest district in the state of Kentucky. Lexington Catholic, Lexington Christian, Lafayette,
Yeah.
Dunbar, Tates Creek.
Mhm.
Now, I'm a little biased because I had to coach in it for
Right.
a couple of years. But so this week, we talked about LCA. They had some district. They were originally the 3 seed after the first round batch of district games, and they had some games they had to make up because they were in All A and the weather and everything. So early in the week, they beat Lafayette last week. So this week they had their return game with Catholic. Now Catholic beat them the first time in a close game over at Catholic.
Mhm.
So this time it was at LCA. Now for LCA to get the 1, they had to win out. They had to beat Catholic this week and they had to beat Lafayette next week.
Right.
If anything else happens, Lafayette secures the 1 seed, which in that district is huge. You get the 1 seed.
Yeah. Is it 5 teams? Is
5
that-
teams, yeah. So
you
Tates
get
Creek,
the bye.
Tates Creek and Dunbar are playing the 4-5 game, and then the winner of that will play the 1 seed. So
Right.
the game is at LCA. I actually went to the game. Great atmosphere. This probably offends some people, but
No,
yeah.
that's just what
We
you do.
always used to joke around when Catholic and LCA played. We called it the Holy War.
Right.
And people get offended. I'm just saying it's the Holy
It's kind
War.
of funny.
Either way, yeah.
You gotta appreciate that kind of humor.
So the kids from Lexington Catholic came over to LCA, had a great student section from both teams. The gym was packed. I was actually standing on the baseline watching the entire second half, and I'm going to throw out some numbers for you. Biggest lead of the game was 5-0 for Lexington Catholic at the start.
So it was tough the whole time.
12 ties, 28 lead changes,
Oh man, I wish
and it went to overtime.
I love games
So
like that.
I'm going to talk about this.
Unless my team's playing.
Right.
I like
I've been
watching
on both
games.
sides of that. I've been a coach and a fan of that,
Yeah.
and it's a different feeling. But so the game is tied. It's late in the game. There's 10, 12 seconds to go.
Mhm.
There's kind of a loose ball. LCA picks it up. Kid from LCA goes up for a layup, gets fouled, gets hurt. Not anything serious, but kind of limping. So LCA has to sub somebody in off the bench to shoot 2 free throws. Makes them both. About 5 seconds to go. Catholic has the ball, has to go length of the court. To throw a deep pass to Zan Payne, who is the son of Kenny Payne, who's assistant coach at the University of Kentucky, played at the University of Louisville. He goes up for a layup, gets fouled, clean foul, but lands just, I mean, and if any of you all don't know, Zan's a big kid. He's about 6'6". He's probably about 210. He's a big, strong kid. Lands really bad on his leg, tore his knee to pieces, broke his leg, I believe. So we're talking a kid that scored over 1,200 points in his career at Lexington Catholic. He's one of the top 5 rebounders in the school history. Great kid, great character kid. I've coached against him. He's a yes sir, no sir kind of kid.
Mm-hmm.
Great kid. Hate to see it happen to anybody. Really hate to see it happen to him. He's got a long road ahead of him. So just remember Zan throughout the week if you can. Probably Lexington Catholic's best player. So
that's a huge blow for
it is. It is.
Really is.
And here's the thing. So we've got a kid that's down with an absolute just terrible injury.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still 1 second to go. Catholic's down 2, and they've got to shoot free throws.
Yeah.
Okay, where we got kids for Catholic that are upset, obviously, and so Catholics, they're going through getting the kid off the floor. I mean, it's 10, 15 minutes of silence because everybody's worried about him, obviously.
Well, that's one of those moments that kind of just gives you that feeling in your
stomach.
too.
It was terrible. It was terrible. So, they're trying to figure out who's going to be the guy to come off the bench and shoot these free throws for Catholic. And a kid named Patrick Gagan, who is the Lexington Catholic kid, been in the program part, for 3 years now, walks up to the assistant coach and says, "I'll make him." Jimmy Chitwood type stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I got a shirt that says that. I'll make it.
So anyway, after that, he goes in, strokes them both. So we go to overtime.
Well, he meant it then.
He did. So we go to overtime. Catholic ended up winning the game by 3. It was a great game. Like I said, the biggest lead was 5.
Yeah.
So, kids making shots, kids making plays on LCA's end. You got Kyle Rhodes, you got Carter Hendrickson that were making big plays. On Catholic's end, Zan before he got hurt, Ben Johnson, Keegan Bailey was 6 of 6 in the second half from 3.
Pretty good.
So anyway, long story short, Catholic wins. That means LCA will drop down to the 3. Catholic will be the 2. Lafayette's the 1. So we have Lexington Catholic, LCA.
The Holy War game.
The Holy War in the 2-3 game. Districts at Lexington Catholic. Or I'm sorry, Lexington Christian.
That would be a good one to watch.
So yeah, and
I want to say something about the kid that stepped up and made the free throws. There's nothing better than the kid that will wait for his name to be called.
Oh man.
And then just show out what happened.
And he's a kid that plays a little bit for him off the bench. He's not a kid that's like into the bench. He does play spot minutes for him, and he's got a role.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big moment, and I've been involved in as a coach and just as a spectator at a lot of good games, and that was one of the better games I've seen in a while, in a couple years. So definitely want to give a shout out to him for making the shot. We're thoughts and prayers with Zan as he's got a long road ahead of him. So hopefully he recovers from that.
Do you think the Payne family are Louisville fans or Kentucky fans?
I think right now, if I'm Kenny Payne and UK's paying me, I'm probably
Whoever's paying your paycheck.
I'm a UK fan. But yeah, so you think about it, and early in the week, Catholic loses to Madison Central by 40.
Wow.
So you come in with a team like Catholic, who's just come off one of the worst losses they've had in a long time.
Madison Central's just doing the right stuff right now.
They are, and then you got a team like LCA who had won 13 in a row coming in.
Yep.
And they have a just slugfest, and they're going to meet again in a week.
I know.
It's awesome.
It is awful.
So, and then, Lafayette. So Lafayette will get the 1 seed, and they'll play the winner of Tates Creek Dunbar. Dunbar is playing pretty good right now. They beat Henry Clay again. They've won 8 of their last 10.
I know they've got some momentum, and I
They
don't
do.
think that any of them, nobody like really kids or anybody in the program, they kind of knew they were rebuilding.
Yeah,
And you can acknowledge that as a competitor and a coach. You know
no
where you stand.
doubt, no doubt. And you got. Here's the thing about the thing, and obviously I have a little more inside information about them than anybody. But at Dunbar, we lost the kid this summer that
Right.
passed away. He was going to be one of the better. He was a starter. Would have been a great help for Coach Chalk.
Yes.
2 kids that are actually playing at Lafayette were at Dunbar, but when Douglas was built, redistricting
It changed
moved
that.
them over there.
Yes.
Trey Homer, who was a kid that was a bench player on the team that won the state championship, moved to Texas.
Oh gosh.
So you're looking at a bunch of guys that they had that they were going to be counting on that they didn't have. So Coach Chalks had to really kind of just put it together, and they
as
took
it
some
goes.
lumps early in the year.
Mhm.
They played a really, really tough schedule earlier in the year, but now they're playing well. And I promise you, if they are able to get by Tates Creek in that 4 or 5 game, Lafayette's not going to overlook them.
Right.
So that'll be that whole district is always good. There's been years where the 4 of the 5 teams in that district are ranked in the top 25 going in. So that's a really, really good one. Those are the only ones I have. I know you got some down in your area that you want to talk about.
I'll talk about this one here. The 57 districts had a crazy.
Well, I remember I came in today and I said, you guys just beat Pikeville.
Yeah, well, Pikeville's the defending region champion.
And I think maybe the early favorite to win the region.
They
this year.
were.
They were my pick early.
Well, and they were mine too. And as we've said before, I work for Johnson Central. I coach at Johnson Central myself. So obviously, I'm going to always have that bias.
Right.
But what I've witnessed the last week or so, the last week and a half, is just a crazy turnaround. Because here you've had Coach McKenzie taking his lumps,
Right.
from teams he really probably shouldn't have been beat by. And then just out of nowhere, you're beating Pikeville, the defending champion. You're beating Paintsville, and you're beating Sheldon Clark by 30.
If you can beat Pikeville, you can win the region.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not saying you're going to play at the same level every night,
Right.
obviously. But if you can beat Pikeville, you have a chance to win the region. And then I said
And I don't
last
think
week.
Pikeville was without anybody. I mean, somebody can
No,
correct me if I'm
I
wrong.
don't think they were. I saw
think they
that.
had
I'm
everybody.
pretty sure. I know Battle played, right?
Yes.
So I mean, he's their stud. But
Yes.
I look at
But
your all's district, and Paintsville had been playing pretty good the last couple of weeks. And did you guys play in this past
we
week?
did. I want to say that they were without Seth Williams this past
Okay.
week, so that makes a difference.
It does.
He's good for 16 to 20 points a game,
No doubt.
and he's kind of their floor general.
Right.
So without him, they were a different team. However, you're always going to have Paintsville and Johnson Central battling at each home court. So
Well, yeah, and it's one of those
year
games,
in-
like we've said, it's a rivalry. Throw the records out the window.
year in and year out, you usually trade wins.
Right.
They beat us at home, we beat them at home. That's just kind of how it always works. So there was not a huge surprise that we beat Paintsville here, and there's not a huge surprise that they beat us at their place. It's just kind of how it is. And
Now
it was
you
a
all
packed house.
are 1 and 2, right? So you wouldn't meet till the district championship.
Right.
Now who's the 3 in this district?
The 3 in this district is Sheldon Clark. So Johnson Central plays Sheldon Clark in the 2-3 game.
So you're the 2, Paintsville's the 1.
Yes, Paintsville's the 1 seed. Paintsville got the 1 seed this year because they were undefeated until we beat them last week.
So they were 5-1.
Yes,
You all
5-1
were
in the district.
4-2.
Mhm.
Okay. Sheldon Clark, I know they probably haven't been great this year,
Yeah.
but they got Trey James,
Mhm.
who
And they have the little Brady Dingus. He's a good point guard.
and the Dingus kid's pretty good. And it's a district game.
Yep.
And if somebody gets hot,
Yes.
they can carry you for 1 game, and that'll get you.
I think as soon as they figure out the cohesiveness, because those are 2 very young players.
They're young, yeah. Their futures are bright.
Yes.
I'm not sure that they can get by you all in that game.
But you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
But we
you
are
never
at
know.
home.
Yeah.
We hosted here this year at Johnson Central, so that gives us yet another edge.
Right.
And the fact that we beat them by so much last time, I think you've got that feeling of deflatedness.
It does play a factor. I've been on both sides of that. When,
Yeah.
when you pop somebody pretty good, you kind of know that they know early in the game if it starts going downhill, you're like, well, here we go again. So.
But I've seen crazier things happen. I've seen massive meltdowns in the 57th district. But what I'm concerned about, McGoffin County beat Johnson Central
Right.
last week.
Right.
Everybody kind of counted McGoffin County out after they lost Robbie Russell. He graduated last year.
Mhm.
And they had Jaron Lovely too, and he was pretty strong post player. So everybody was just like, oh, McGoffin County's going to be terrible. But they beat us last week.
Right. So
without much of a problem.
and
they play Paintsville, and we've beaten Paintsville. So you're
Yeah.
looking at that. You're looking at all games across the board in the 57th being very interesting games to watch.
it is. It's very interesting.
Year 1 and year 4 really aren't that far apart. So
Right. So anything can happen.
anything could happen.
Right. Okay.
I think that's it, but I think we should talk about Madison Central now because
Oh man, let me tell you something.
they have been playing some crazy good basketball.
I mean, like I said earlier, they've run off some games here lately. I mean, I'm going to go over their last couple games with you here.
Well, they beat Franklin County 87-43. From what I'm looking at, that was their most.
Poor Tony.
That was their most recent win.
So I'm just going to go back as far as January 26th.
Yeah.
So they beat Trinity.
Big win.
They lose to Henry Clay, which we talked on the last second shot.
Yeah.
Then they go.
That was a good win for Henry Clay.
It really was, yeah.
Because they have kind of struggled a little bit lately.
They've got some decent wins this year. Then they go 40-piece against Harrison County, 25 against Ballard, 40 against Catholic.
And Ballard's no team to sneeze at either.
And then they obviously they roughed up Franklin this past week. But and then now they got South Laurel, who I've seen play, and I think is one of the top teams in the 13th, has a chance to win it.
I agree. I think that's who you'll see.
And it's at South Laurel.
Out of.
I think if I had to pick 13th right now with all the other stuff that's gone on, I'm going to go South Laurel because they're steady, they don't have any drama,
right?
And they play the way they're going to play. And Jeff Davis does a great job with it.
Yes, he does.
So you look at them; they have to go to South Laurel, which that's going to be a tough environment to play in, out of region. You know how we talk about mountain officials, and then they end the season.
They're a different breed.
They are. They end the season at home against Covington Catholic.
Right.
So
I can't wait to see that game.
If Scott County's not in the 11th, you are talking about Madison Central as a runaway favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping now. Scott County, Madison Central have played.
Yes.
It was on January 9th at Scott County. The final score was 71-54. From what I heard, up until late third quarter, early fourth, it was about a 4 or 6 point game. Scott County hit a little stride and got on a run and kind of stretched it out.
I'm not counting them out. I think they could do it. I think they could do it.
My hope is that.
But will they rise to the occasion?
My hope is that they play in the regional championship. I hope they're on opposite ends of the bracket. Obviously, and the regional tournament is played at EKU in Richmond.
Yes.
It's where Madison Central plays their district. It's kind of a home away from home from them. And if
Yes.
you've never been in the 11th region tournament, if Madison Central's in the semifinals or the finals against somebody good, you go there. You might as well be playing at Madison Central.
Yes.
It's pretty fired up. It gets pretty fired up. So,
and they travel pretty well.
They do. They do.
And that's in their backyard. So
it is. And Alan, Coach Feldhouse does an absolutely amazing job. He's done a great job since he's been there. They don't shy away from any competition. Right. They play everybody in the 11th, which you get away with just saying, we play everybody in the 11th. Your schedule's tough enough.
Right.
Then you go play Trinity, Ballard, and
beat
Covington
Trinity.
Catholic.
Beat Trinity.
And beat Ballard.
Yeah.
So to me, that's I just can't say enough. I don't think you're going to look at anybody's resume per se and say that they have more, big wins than Madison Central
for sure.
does right now.
I agree.
You know how in NCAA terms they're like, who's your big wins and stuff. I mean, there's nobody that's going to be able to look at
the toughness of schedule for them has just been.
And that's what makes them better.
Yes.
It
does.
That's what makes them better.
If
And
you play
this
teams
group
better than you get better.
It kind of reminds me a lot of that group that won the state championship for them in this way. They don't have a Dominique Hawkins type of guy. They don't have a guy that you can throw out there and say, go get us a win. But what they did was those kids at Dominique and them, they played them all when they were young, and they took their lumps and they kind of came up. This group they have now, Cozart and Gerald's and Mentor and Miller, those guys, and McKee, those 5 kids they've taken their lumps the last couple of years, and they haven't been bad. And they were regional semifinals last year, So it's just one of those things where Coach Feldhouse understands that it's a process, and he does a really good job with that. So they're definitely, they're hotter than a pistol right now.
That's we've talked about it before. That was my favorite state tournament. I know what yours is.
Right.
But
but no, that was a good one. That was a really good one.
The whole stadium erupted.
If just so we can just talk about flashback, if Montgomery County would have beaten Ballard in that semifinal, and it would have been Madison Central and Montgomery County, there might have been a new attendance record.
Yeah.
Because that place would have been
packed.
And it was because all their games were packed. They had such good following. So
everybody was for Madison Central kind of pulling that win.
They were.
And when Kenja Bosley hit that
Oh,
shot,
man.
everybody was on their feet.
Oh,
it
it
was
was awesome.
crazy.
I was there.
I'm
I
getting
was
chills
cheering.
talking about it.
It
That was my
awesome.
favorite.
It was great.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Madison Central, they're the hottest team in the state right now,
Yes.
and I'm sure Allen doesn't. Coach Feldhouse probably doesn't want us.
I know, we're-
I'm not trying to jinx them because now that I'm out of the 11th region, which I don't miss the 15 top 25 teams in it every year.
Right.
But now that I'm out of it, obviously I have my bias towards Dunbar. I'd like to see them do well. I went to Franklin County. I'd like to see Franklin County do well. But after that, I'd really like to see Madison Central.
Well, and as a coach of a team that
Do well.
could do it, you kind of want to be careful about what people say about you.
Oh, yeah.
What you
So
say.
you don't want any of that bulletin board material.
Right.
That's why, like, when you try and get me to talk about where I coach at on here, I won't do it.
Sometimes you got to, man.
No, I don't either. We got too many petty people in our region, so I don't put my stuff out there.
So again, props to Madison Central
Props to
and
Madison Central for sure.
Coach Feldhouse for doing.
They'll
such
be
an
brought
awesome
back up, I'm sure, when we talk about our top 5 at the end of the show.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to go ahead and talk about. We had several kids score like career milestones
Right.
this week.
Yep.
We had two male players that scored 2,000, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
You had Torian Ware from Christian County,
Which
which
we
we've talked about
Torian
several times.
Yeah. Great player.
Yes, and from what I understand, a good kid.
Great kid. Yeah.
So-
His cousin actually played for us at Dunbar a couple years ago.
Oh,
So
okay.
good kid, comes from a good family.
That's good. And then Christian Mounts of Pike Central, he scored his 2,000 point. He's kind of their bread and butter this year.
Right.
So
Played a lot of games for them in the
yes.
last couple of years. So.
Well, and that's something. Again, Pike Central, somebody you can't really count out in the 15th region either. You just
Right.
they've got Ryan Whitaker as their coach now, and he kind of knows what it takes to win.
Yeah.
He won a NAI championship under
Right.
Kelly Wells, so you got competitors at the helm. You know what's up. And we had two girls that hit 3,000 point milestones, which is huge.
I saw Blair Green hit her.
Blair Green
which
from Harlan County,
She's going to UK.
Yes.
Probably going to be top 5 in the Miss Basketball
sure.
voting. Yeah.
and then Macy Gibson.
Okay.
So she hit her 3,000th. We had a few kind of pepper through with 1,000 point goals. Jacob White of Hancock County, Austin Bennett of Buckhorn, Jason Alexander of Well County.
It's my guy,
Baby J,
Baby
not
J. Yeah.
not,
I
not
know
our
his dad
boy.
real well,
Yeah.
Jason Senior.
yes.
And he is a 12th region Boyle County homer to the end.
He is.
And I'll give him credit. He doesn't back away
But
from
that's
that.
okay.
But he's
I'm
a
a
good
15th
dude.
region
and-
homer.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah. So and Baby J was a kid that he was on the bench that year that Boyle County made that run to the Final Four,
Yeah.
semifinals of the state tournament. And I think he learned a lot, and around Hagen Tyler and those kids, they had a really good group that year. So I know Jason says he works really hard. So congrats to Baby J.
I had a great time like kind of bragging on him on Twitter over that because I got to say, well, it was Baby J, not Big Jason, because he doesn't have
Big
eligibility.
Jason's a Duke fan,
Yeah.
man. Anybody worry about him?
And I said he's not got any eligibility left, and somebody called him out though. They were like, "Yeah, and he got no game either."
Yeah, well,
Oh,
he's a good dude, dog.
sorry, Jay.
He's a good dude. He's another guy, like we talked about before. If you don't follow him on Twitter and you really just want to know about high school basketball, he does a really good job.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't just cover that region.
He does. I mean, yeah, he does.
He loves that region.
He'll keep it real too
Yeah.
with you. He's a lot like me. He's gonna be real honest with you about stuff. So.
And John and I, we fight more often than we get along because John just tells it like it is. So, if you can handle that, Jason's another one of those. But,
Yeah.
but he's knowledgeable and he knows his stuff.
He
so,
does. He does a good job. So.
Do you have anything else? You want to move to our top 5 or do you games?
No, I want to talk about some
games to
games
watch?
this week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
games to
some
watch.
games coming up this week. Obviously, we said Madison Central and Covington Catholic are going
Yes.
to play. So
That's
two-
my number one game to watch.
Definitely. I mean, in my opinion, and I think in everybody else's opinions that know what they're talking about, that's 2 of the top 5 teams in the state of Kentucky.
Yes.
So, that's a big, big game. And you know what? We talk about how Coach Feldhouse will play anybody, but Coach Roussettes at Covcath, he's the same way.
Yes.
He'll play anybody.
He's built a program there.
Oh, he's done a
For
great
sure.
job. He's done a great job. So that's probably the game of the week. It's at Madison Central, and that would be on February the 16th. So if you have a chance, you're in the Richmond area, go check it out.
You should.
You may not see a higher level game all year.
I want to say it'll probably be packed in there too.
Oh, it will be. Those people will come out in droves over there. So,
I hope so.
and
Full gyms.
Covcath has an awesome student section. I don't know how
Yes.
much I would not be surprised if they traveled though for that. It's a big game. 2 top 5 teams in the state.
Yeah.
So
And if they don't, and if you're listening, I think you should bring your student section cook out. Everybody loves them anyway.
You talk about how you're the best student section in the state. Bring it.
They didn't win.
Although last year you started chanting that Tavion sucked and he gave you 30 and you weren't chanting it at the end of the game. Anyway, go
Ouch.
ahead. Yes.
But they
Cupcake
did-
student
but-
section.
He's calling you out.
I want you to come to Richmond because it's going to be a great atmosphere and it'll be even better atmosphere if both teams are there.
That's
both
true.
teams student section. Madison Central has an awesome student section.
Boyle County won the student section of the year though last year. We give out that award.
No, Dunbar won the year before.
Yeah, Dunbar won the year before.
Yeah.
So this makes the third year in a row. I would love to give it to Cupcake because truthfully, they are my favorite. I can't help it. Their
They do a
student
great job.
Their student section is hilarious.
When
for
you
one.
if they get to the state tournament, which they
Yes.
have a great chance to do,
And they don't have cheerleaders. So
they have they're obviously an all boys school,
Yes.
so they have guys though that stand down there and lead the chants.
and their
very
chants are
creative,
numbered. Their
very
chants are
creative,
numbered.
very creative.
Yes.
They're very
So
creative.
a student section full of all males obviously is going to be louder.
I want to
anyway.
give a shout out to the student section real
Okay,
quick since
go
we're
for it.
talking about it. So we
I love
played
student section.
at Clark. We played Montgomery this week, which is a huge rivalry.
Right.
District game, we had to redo it over snow.
Okay.
And I want to give Montgomery County, I guess they call themselves the Blue Crew.
Oh.
I don't know. They're on Twitter.
Yes.
They do their research. I'm standing under the basket before the game.
Yeah.
And one of their students asks me, why in the world would you leave Dunbar to go to Clark County?
Ouch.
All my stuff's private.
That's a burn on you.
No, it's not. I just said like this and they didn't say anything else. But credit to you,
You
for
can
doing your
say-
homework.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they hate Clark County and that's fine.
Right.
And I don't have it. I was my first year at Clark. So obviously the rivalry's new to me.
Right.
But I was impressed. It took a lot for me not to laugh. But you talk about student sections like,
I probably would have been over there and like shook some hands because
oh man, it was funny.
I wish I had been there because I probably would have made it.
Oh man, it was funny. But other than that, it got kind of ugly after that. But yeah, I was like,
So did they show up though? Were there a lot of them?
yeah, there was a lot of people there.
Good.
Both our students came because it was at Montgomery, and our students were there, and their students were there. When we played them over at our place earlier in the year, same deal. They
Well,
traveled well, so that's a rivalry.
It is.
It's a close game
It's
too. So.
stuff like that's funny though
Oh
because
yeah.
JR moved from he played at Paintsville and coaches at Johnson Central.
Right.
There's bad blood there. So his first
Surely not.
so his first year the student section Johnson Central student section was chanting JR Vanhoof.
It's awesome.
So you anytime they've got some material,
I mean,
on
there's
it, it's always good.
and the reason that it made me think of that happening was because we talked about Cupcake and how creative their student sections.
Yes.
Their student sections are really creative.
Anytime they do their homework, it's good.
But I will say this about Cupcake student sections: they're creative, but they don't cross the line.
Right.
Some student sections will cross the line.
I don't like
and,
trashy.
we
at
don't
all.
trashy, not classy.
Yeah.
2018,
Right.
boys and girls. So yeah, definitely Cupcake, Madison Central game of the week to watch. But there's some other good games I want to talk about.
Okay.
Trinity and LCA.
That will be a good one.
It's an interesting game to
Yes.
me. They played in KOB,
Mhm.
and Trinity beat them by 9.
And we both love King of the Bluegrass.
Love King of the Bluegrass.
One of the best tournaments.
Right.
there
Now,
is.
when they played at the King of the Bluegrass, Kyle Rode was, I'm not sure if he played or if he played sparingly. He had that ankle issue going on,
Right.
so he wasn't at 100%. So that'll be a good game. Dawson Ballard play, which is a 6th and 7th region matchup.
Right.
Two teams that have a chance to win their region.
I think Ballard wins that one though. I mean, it'll be close.
I think it'll be close. I don't know, man. Ballard, I never count Ballard out. Dawson's playing really well. They got to the finals of the LIT this year. They're playing well.
I just
Good
have one
basketball.
request out of either of those teams. If you make it to the state tournament, please bring fans.
Well,
Please.
it's a little, it's hard. They don't always, obviously. I'm
And
sure if the tournament was at the Yum Center,
Yeah.
or Freedom Hall like it was back in the day, the Louisville contingent would be a little bit better. I felt, obviously we played Doss
Mhm.
in the finals, and they had some fans there, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like what we had.
Right.
And so, that's
Well,
tough. But
And I think that some of your Louisville schools have administrators that don't excuse kids for going
yeah,
to the state
that's
tournament.
also an issue.
So you look at that being a problem too. This is a call to everyone involved. If your team's in the state tournament, go. Let the kids go. Be a part of it.
It's definitely a once in a lifetime experience.
Right.
When I was in the 5th grade, Franklin County made the state tournament.
Right.
And
Everybody went.
everybody in Frankfurt went. It was
Yeah.
awesome, and I'll never, it was my first true state tournament
Well, in
experience.
2010, Shelby Valley, everybody
Oh,
in
yeah.
Pike County was
Yeah.
there. It wasn't even just your people that lived in that direction
Right.
of Pike County. It was everybody. They
Yeah.
were all supporting Shelby Valley because it wasn't very often that their team
Yeah.
was actually there. So don't get comfortable about being there. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, celebrate it and go and support the kids because they need it. You know,
Yes.
Rupp's a different environment. So
It
if you
is.
have Dawson Dunbar, for instance, and Dunbar's got 1,000 kids there, that's gonna help.
Right.
So
Then also Pulaski County and Corbin play this week, which is Stephen Fitzgerald and Andrew Taylor, who probably two kids have been in conversation all year for Mr. Basketball.
Right.
Both have signed Division I scholarships, so that'll be a good game. And then I want to talk about our favorite team for me to burn every week, the LaRue County Eagles. You got a chance to make some more noise this week. You got two big games. They go to E-Town, and they host Warren Central.
Right. So did they win the game that you wanted them to win last
They
week?
beat Adair 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
They didn't play anybody this past week.
Oh, okay.
So they still want to be ranked ahead of John Harden, your favorite team.
That's my favorite team.
They lost this week
I love John Harden.
to Butler,
I know.
but that's because they play people that are in the top 5 in the state.
Right.
They go play people. Anyway,
Yeah.
so LaRue goes to E-Town, and they host Warren Central.
So let me ask you this: are you giving more respect to John Harden over LaRue County? You give
Nah,
more props
well,
to John Harden?
Once again, head-to-head, John Harden beat them. I know
Yeah.
it was in December.
Right.
And John Harden has played a ringer
Mhm.
of a schedule. So, comparative to
Right.
LaRue has played two teams that you would consider maybe ranked higher or at the same level than
Right.
them, and that's Scott County and John Harden and lost them both.
Yeah.
So this week, I think it's a chance to play, at E-Town, which
Mhm.
E-Town split with John Harden. Both games were close. It's a rivalry. It's a district game.
Mhm.
So that'll be a good test for them. And then they host Warren Central to end the season. And we talked about Warren Central being probably the favorite in the 4th region.
Right.
So that's another chance, LaRue. Show me what you got. If you go 2-0 this week, it'll be big time.
So
Big time.
So the West Trader shootout happened.
It did.
Yeah, and we kind of gave a nod to West Trader when he passed, and
Right.
I think that this year probably was different because
He wasn't there.
right.
Yeah.
So
Um,
I just kind of wanted to mention
There were a
that
couple good games in that.
there were.
Mercer County played Warren
Warren
Central,
Central.
and that was Warren Central came away with that. It's a big win.
Mhm.
Now, and props to Mercer County because they've gone everywhere and played this year. They
Right.
went to King of the Bluegrass.
Mhm.
They went to the Corbin tournament.
But that was
They
where
played
Butler
with John
defeated John
Sutherland.
Harden.
Right,
So,
and then Butler beat John Harden. The first game of the day was Cooper versus a team from, I believe it was from Texas. Is that right?
I
What's that
guess
say?
I don't.
Redemption Christian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Redemption Christian has a point guard that's signed with WKU.
Oh.
So the game was at Warren Central. So obviously they
Gotcha.
brought a kid in there, and Cooper won the game. So that's kind of the story behind that. Kunkel had a good game. He's starting to get back 100% healthy.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and then I think Fern Creek beat Owensboro Catholic in the last game.
46-38.
Yeah, so
So-
close, low scoring game, which is
Well, those are defensive teams, though. So.
well for Owensboro Catholic's really like that. Coach Riley, he's a defensive guy, so that doesn't
Right.
surprise me. So
I don't get mad about seeing defensive games. I like
no, grind it out.
it. Mhm.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that's Randy McCoy style. Grind it out and then hold the ball.
Our boy McCoy.
I called him out.
Yeah, old McCoy. I got some shout outs this week.
Do you? Okay.
I got a text message from our good friend Lauren Cash
Oh yeah.
that told me that she had been listening from Knoxville where she's
No
not
way.
working. Yeah.
Oh, I miss you so much, Cash.
I do too.
Yeah.
She was, if you all don't know, she worked down here,
WYMT.
WYMT,
And was,
news anchor.
She was
sports.
the best news anchor
Oh, she was great.
ever.
So,
Yeah.
mutual friend of ours, but she was saying that she had been listening and she misses Kentucky high school basketball because it's just not the same.
Oh yeah, she and I used to bro out over Kentucky high school basketball all the time. Like all these girls that come through YMT that work for the sportscast, the sports side, they always end up kind of connecting to me because you don't find females very often that one enjoy it that much and two really care about what's going on all over the state. And,
Right.
And Cash was one of those, so it was just,
Yeah,
it was
and she's working in Knoxville now, and I think she covered high school sports in general in the area,
Yes,
football,
yes.
all that.
I
But
think
in
football was her
Tennessee,
favorite season.
yeah, in Tennessee, obviously, their basketball. She's in the Knoxville area.
Yeah.
It's not the same as where
No.
she was covering. So she enjoyed our
Well, again,
podcast.
because we have one tournament and they
That's
don't.
right.
So
And then, of course, I have a shout out to my group message. They've already blown me up this morning. They're excited about the live.
are they going to watch or are they going to listen to the
They'll
podcast?
probably do both.
All right. One of them
So-
gave us that review. I liked it. It was good.
Yeah, he's the guy that throws the ball 35 feet in the air on
Oh,
the
that's
tip.
your boy. Okay.
He's the one that gave us that review. So, and
Keep
you
throwing
know,
the ball
they,
35 feet
they,
in the
they made me think about something that maybe we can talk about quickly.
Okay.
So I know during the regional tournament we go out of region for officials.
Right.
So officials from different regions come in and ref,
Yes.
officiate. So like I don't know who the 10th region has this year, so I'm not saying this as I know. I'm just saying as a general conversation.
This is a generalization.
Yeah. So, like for example, the 15th region officials could come to the 10th and ref the 10th region tournament, and so they wanted to know, how do we feel about that? Do we think that's a good idea, a bad idea? It's been going on for a couple years now.
I don't mind it, because then you end up not having anybody that's like a true homer.
Mm-hmm.
That's really how you avoid that, is by sending them somewhere else. What I want to kind of add to that, I want to piggyback off this conversation and say, I wish that our assigning secretaries were watching film on Huddle or on Crossover to try and evaluate their referees. I would like to see that happen, because I know that football officials get evaluated every year.
Maybe it's different down here. I know the assigning secretary in the BBA, which covers the 10th and the 11th.
Yeah.
He does a pretty good job of
Yes.
watching it. Officials are odd birds because they really, really, really defend each other.
Oh, I
till the
know.
hilt.
Listen, I know. I umpire soccer,
Right.
so I know
they
what-
don't ever want to tell you that one of their buddies, one of their partners, is messed up.
unless you're one of them.
Right.
They'll tell you if you're
right,
one of them.
right.
So
I personally don't have a problem with us going out of region for officials.
I like it,
I
because
think
it keeps you a little more fair.
to
than
play devil's advocate, you have the argument of, well, guys that have watched us all year know how we play, know the way that know history between kids, and if there's a problem we've had
I
before.
know,
So
but at the
you
same
have
time,
that,
if you're going
but
by the book, then
this
that
is
shouldn't matter.
my feeling on it, and I have my bias on things, obviously.
Right.
But growing up
Yeah.
in the 11th region, playing, coaching, for the longest time, you could look at the 11th region, and most years, Scott County or Lexington Catholic, if not both, we're going to be in the finals of the 11th region.
Right.
One of those teams is probably going to state tournament.
Yeah.
So
Scott County's been there a lot.
people got the feeling, and I'm not saying that this is true, false, or anywhere in between,
Right.
but people got the feeling that guys didn't want to get on the bad side of Billy Hicks or Danny Haney at Catholic and Scott County because they didn't want to get scratched and not have a chance to work the region championship. Because you can make the argument, as an official, working the championship with the 11th region tournament or the 7th region tournament or the 6th is just as good as working at the state tournament, because
Right.
it's
It
a
is.
high-level competition. So I think some coaches and other people around the state that was introduced, it was voted on, and now we go out of region. I like it personally. I think it's a good way to kind of
It eliminates bias the best.
eliminate some bias and you eliminate scratches, because you've got, there's probably people that are scratched at Catholic that aren't scratched at Dunbar.
Yes.
So, that you have different guys. It's a way to
And
kind
I
of wipe the
think-
slate clean, I think.
Right, and I think that you have your assigning official, your assigning secretaries hand-picking the people that go to the region tournament.
They do.
To
They
represent
do.
them.
You have to be
You have to be
selective.
one of them.
Yeah.
Last year I've been umpiring softball for 4 years, and last year was my first year in the postseason, and I got to go to a really hard district tournament, and that was flattering to me. I didn't get to go to the region,
Right.
but you have to kind of bide your time, pay your dues. You got to, and prove that you're capable of calling at that high level. So I don't think you're getting a bad representation of whatever region they're sending to you. I think some regions struggle, getting you that cast more than others. But I think that you're getting the best of the best from whichever region they come. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that they're usually traded around geographically. Like you wouldn't get one from the 16th to go to the first.
Yeah, no. It's usually in your general area.
Yeah. I wish it was a little farther though. I wish
sometimes,
I wish that it skipped regions, because what we don't want in the 15th is to get 16th region officials, and it's happened before.
Well, in the 11th, we've gotten the 12th.
Yeah.
We've gotten we've gotten the 9th. And
I
stuff,
think that
so.
it could. I think it's a great thing, but I think it could be tweaked a little bit to be perfected, maybe.
Well, I don't know if there's ever a perfect system
No.
when it comes to that kind
No,
of stuff. But
definitely
my personal belief, I have no problem going out of region.
Right, me either. And I think that it should stay that way, but also think that things could be changed a little bit to where the 11th didn't get the 12th and vice versa.
And I want to say a couple things. People probably don't know this because they just are too busy bashing officials. So when the state tournament comes around, each region has a representative from their region that is one official that goes to the state tournament. Okay, and the rules are this: you can't at the state tournament, you can't officiate any teams from your association, which is the region you came from, and you can't officiate any of the teams that you officiate in a regional championship.
Exactly.
So, just to keep it all fair. Yeah. So, also, you look around.
And I don't think it could be you can officiate any teams that you called either. So, say a team played out of region.
If you play out of region, I think that's right too. Yeah. There's a lot of good officials in our area. The BBA covers the 10th and the 11th region. So we get to, you get 2 guys from
Right.
that association because they cover 2 regions. You know, and we usually do a pretty good job of guys. We do pretty good guys, and the 11th has made the state championship game a lot recently, so they haven't been able to work it.
Right.
So, but there's a couple
Now-
guys that I hope get a chance to go to the state tournament.
Well, and keep in mind that while these people are calling these first round games, there are people there evaluating them.
Oh
and
yeah,
they make the decision.
Julian evaluates the
Yeah.
pitchers every game.
They make the decision on who keeps going.
Progresses
from
to
there.
semifinals and the finals and,
And
so forth.
and so out of all your regions in the state, your state finals game is allegedly your very best cast.
well,
of
it's just
people.
as big a deal
So-
for regional for officials to make it to the state championship as it is for players
Yes,
and
it
coaches
is.
and stuff like
and
that.
they even can get a ring and everything. So
Yeah, you know,
it's pretty cool.
me personally, if I had to pick one guy from our region to make it as an official, I think everyone knows who that would be.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say his name
Yeah.
because I don't want to put him on blast. But if I had to pick a second, it's the big timer that's worked in 3 regions this year.
Oh, okay. You're big
I
time.
mean, if you work 3 regions, think about that. You're an official.
big time.
You're so good that you work 3 regions that you're on a wanted list. Everybody wants you. That's how good you are. You probably deserve to make state tournament, buddy.
I'm for that.
I mean, he's big time.
I don't know.
3 regions in your
We've
own.
got a top 2 or 3 that I can choose from. You know, again, I'm not going to drop any names.
Names, yeah.
No.
No.
I'm almost never going to talk about a ref by name on this because I think it's
No,
easier
no.
that way.
Don't do that.
So some of you are good and you know who you are.
Some of you are trash. No, I'm just playing.
Some of you are new and trying to do better, and that's okay too.
We got to talk about what we said we were going to talk about.
Social media
Social
and
media
the
rivalries.
yeah, the impact on rivalries. I'm of the camp that I think it has changed the dynamic
I think it definitely has.
of the hatred between teams.
Because like I told you last week, there are teams that I will go to my grave
hating.
despising
Yes.
because I grew up.
Well, I've got to tell myself because I felt that way for a really long time about Johnson Central.
Well,
I graduated
there
from
was a
Shelby Park.
movie. There was a movie that ESPN came out with back in 2002 about Kentucky high school basketball,
Yes.
and Ashley Judd narrated and stuff. And there was a specific section in that film about Johnson Central Paintsville
Yes.
and followed Bill Mike around and all that, and it followed the guy from Johnson Central around. And the guy, I remember a scene in it where the guy says, "You're born in this town. You're either born an eagle or you're born a tiger," and that's just the way it is.
Basically, and those lines are blurred now, even here.
Right.
But
But I think, like you said, though, when kids have such easy access to each other through social media,
yes,
playing AAU together, because
Yes.
the AAU game has expanded, and now it's not like it was back in the day.
right, you have
You spend a lot more time around
kids on the
these
same
kids.
team.
Yeah,
and,
right.
You know,
right.
I'm not going to sit here and insult AAU, but I don't like it. And we've talked about it before. You've coached it before.
Yeah,
And that's fine. I'm not a fan because I think that it has changed the game of team
I'm not
basketball.
a fan of people playing every weekend. I
Right.
think I think it's watered down. I think there is a
There's a place for it,
place for it.
but it's just gone so awry that I
Yeah.
just can't get behind it. I guess
Right.
that's what I'm trying to say.
No doubt.
And these kids that are studs in AAU, they come and they generally are hard to coach.
Well, the problem,
in a team atmosphere.
what really bothers me about it now is you don't have college coaches coming to high school games. You have college coaches coming
Yes.
to AAU games. You don't really hardly see any you don't see any college coaches at high school games.
But that's
anymore.
because the seasons are different. And
Yeah.
it's more convenient.
It is, no doubt. But I think you see a lot more about a kid at a high school game than you do an AAU game. How do they interact with their teammates? How are they coached? You know,
Yes.
they got to play defense, and
But I
the
guess I would
atmospheres
like
are
to-
different. So
I guess I would like to implore AAU coaches to maybe get on board with more fundamental basketball, more
good luck.
team atmosphere. It's not. I know it's not going to happen, but that's really where I'm at with it. That's why I don't enjoy it as much. And I've
Right.
been to some of these like camps that they go to in the summer, and you know your friend Taylor that does the next up one. I go to it, and it gives me kind of a who to look at every year.
Yeah,
And
it's a good
there's
way.
a
I
place.
mean,
there's a place.
there's
for
a place for it. I think it needs to be tweaked a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to that. Yes,
yes.
I think social media.
It's not the number one cause, but it's
No,
it's
but
a large
kids have a
factor.
lot more easier access to each other than they did back in.
And you could even
20 years
you
ago.
could even say that text messaging has blurred those lines too, because if you really want to talk to somebody when we were in high school,
Pick
you
the phone
had to pick
call.
up the phone and call.
You had to get a phone book, look for the number.
Yeah,
You know, mom and dad's name, so you could call.
right. So
house.
I'm not going to call somebody I played against in high school.
Right.
You know, unless I'm prank calling. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just different now. Kids can. Hey, do you have Mason Blair's number? You know, just for instance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody
Right.
from Paintsville could text Mason, and you know, I think that and group text and all that. I don't think it's just social media. I think it's just the access to communication devices that's
Right.
really changed things.
Well, I said I would name a team that I despise and will despise for my whole life.
Okay.
Western Hills.
He hates them guys.
Oh my gosh. We got a team over here
I don't. He does.
with a trophy case of Vanderbilt football, but talk like they're Alabama football. I mean, I'm serious. They've been that way since I can remember. All right.
Is this
Now-
what makes you mad this week too?
No,
No,
we'll
okay,
get to that.
okay.
But anyway, I don't like Western Hills. I don't have any time for them.
But
They
you,
haven't beat Franklin County in 12 years.
But
one
you went to
time.
Franklin County. You
Yes.
played at Franklin County.
Yes.
So I don't
I'm
think.
gonna tell you right now, there was no chance I was tweeting
Mhm.
or snapping anybody at Western Hills while we were. You done lost your mind. These kids, You're lucky you went through the handshake line. Me, I'm just telling you. So,
But
Western
we all
Hills,
think we all
I'm
can
already
establish
sorry.
that you're extra.
I'm just me.
You are.
I don't like Western Hills. And I've told the head coach of Franklin County, whose name I will not mention, that the day he loses to them is the day he can turn his resignation in. So,
And you guys are no longer friends after that, right?
he's
Cut off.
no Tony Wise. He's my friend. He knows.
But
the
if you
rules.
lose the Western Hills, you're gonna be friends with him still.
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. I want to know if he was
So,
cut off.
like, a couple weeks ago we were talking about Frank County Western Hills play, and I was like, well, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
But you decided to hurt their feelings.
Well, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not really sure any of them
Anytime-
watch this anyway.
Anytime you try to hold back, you come back the next week and you're just incapable of it.
Well, I
very
just
long.
realized that I am what I am.
It's true.
There's no point in.
I know, and I hate you sometimes.
You
So
know?
you know.
Can handle the truth. Can handle the truth. But no, like there was no chance that I would be tweeting or texting or snapping those kids
But-
that I was ready to play. Oh my gosh.
But man, let me tell you something. Okay, where I was going with that, at me as an adult. Okay, I now work for Johnson Central. I went to Sheldon Park High School. We hated everybody in Johnson County. Like Paintsville, Johnson Central, didn't matter. Hated them. Didn't want anything to do with them. But guess what?
Paying your
They
check now.
they pay the bills. So I got a mortgage, adult things to do. You might eat your words one of these days.
I'll go broke.
You go broke before you work at Western Hills. I'm just saying, some people feel more strongly about it. But when I was a kid,
I won't
absolutely.
wear green.
When I was a kid, I would absolutely not have been friends with anybody from Johnson County
No,
under
I
any
just
circumstances.
didn't have any time for it.
And I'm not saying that I want kids to be like nasty to each other or disrespectful or hurting.
No,
anybody.
No.
But you gotta have that.
Got that itch.
Yeah, man, I don't like you. I'm gonna beat you. Now
This
you got.
doesn't mean as much anymore.
It doesn't. Well, and I don't think that's social media's fault either. I think kids just got so much stuff that they can do.
Oh, there's
otherwise.
all kinds of other stuff to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So yes, we both stand that social media has changed things, but it's not the only factor. So that's
Right.
I think where we're at with that. Do you have any more shout outs? Is that it?
I got my group. I got Lauren Cash. Yeah, that's all I got right now for shout outs. Are we gonna do what bothered me this week?
Yeah, I guess so. You're already fired up, so let's just
That's
roll
what
with
bothered
it.
me.
Let's just
This
roll
is
with
what's
it.
bothered me is the level of pettiness that goes on around adults in this state.
Yes.
Okay, coaches, parents, fans, stop being petty.
Listen, we're trying to do an awesome thing.
I'm just saying,
and
like,
I
here's
think
the thing, at the
90%
end
of
of the
people are
day-
enjoying it.
here's the thing. At the end of the day, every kid that plays basketball in the state of Kentucky wants to win a regional championship.
Yes.
Every kid wants to go to the state tournament.
I would
Every
hope.
kid. These kids work just as hard at Redbird Mission as they do at Trinity.
Yes.
The talent level's different, and everywhere in between. These kids work just as hard. These coaches work just as hard.
Mhm.
So don't make it about you. I just saw a lot of pettiness this past week, and specifically in my region, between coaches and parents about stuff. And I'm just like, you know what?
Listen, social media causes a lot more pettiness
Yeah, it
too.
does.
When you get the adults on social media, then they're on Facebook more than they are on Twitter.
I don't have Facebook for that specific reason.
Well, that's good for you because
Yeah.
you would probably set somebody on
Oh
fire.
gosh.
But Facebook, you have people complaining regularly. They feel like they can voice their opinion, and they also feel like people care about their opinion.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah,
But-
you are entitled to it, but you can't expect
I just
people
want
to
people
pitchfork and torch
go
with you.
to
So
the game, enjoy the game, root for your team. If they lose, they lose. Nobody's
Yes.
trying to cheat you.
They play.
Let's just let it go after
They
that.
play. You cheer. Coaches coach. Refs ref.
That's right.
Period.
Players play. That's it.
Players.
So that's what I just saw a lot of pettiness this week, and I just would like for adults to just like remember we're talking about 16, 17-year-old kids. So
Well, even we can even take that a little farther. This Kentucky team that Coach Cal has. Oh my gosh! You're talking about the playing style of 18 and 19-year-old kids. men do not mature until they're 30. Sorry. So you're talking about basically young kids, young adults, and as if they're workhorses. It's got to stop. They're not always going to be the
Well,
best.
people are going to hate because in this state, these BBN people, if they don't go 40-0, then they're just
Then
ready to
it's
burn
unrealistic.
down the house.
But we've got to reel it in and realize that they're kids and those are somebody's children.
Well, I don't condone it on any level.
No.
I see why it's more prevalent on the college level because these kids are on national television every night and they have
it is
you
worse.
have a little bit more interaction.
Yeah.
You see their day-to-day stuff, but the high school level,
It is worse on the high school level because they're minors.
oh,
For
it's
one.
ridiculous.
It's high school basketball. Only a small
I
percentage.
watched a coach this week go diamond and one on a kid because he didn't want that kid to score. He didn't care about winning the game.
So it wasn't like strategic. It was just
It was strategic to make sure he didn't score.
right, but it wasn't to win the game.
No.
Yeah, see that's
Petty.
Yeah.
You know who you are. You're petty. Get over it. Anyway, let's go on to something more positive. Player of the week,
Player of the week.
C.J. Frederick from Covington Catholic. 27, 21, and 28 points, 3 games this week, all 3 wins. He's a
Good.
top 5 guy, Mr. Basketball.
Mhm.
Going to Iowa.
That's a big school.
That's a big school,
It
the Big
is.
10.
Mhm.
So, C.J. Frederick was my player of the week this week. He's had a great
Well
year.
deserved.
And he's got a big game coming up
I know.
at Madison
And
Central.
that's our game of the week.
That's our game of the week.
Yes.
So I think we've done a pretty good job of going from different, we've had a player of the week in Western Kentucky. We've had one in Northern Kentucky,
Yep.
Central Kentucky. So we've done a
I
pretty
think
good
we're
job of
trying.
spreading it
We
out.
actually haven't given anybody in Eastern Kentucky the nod yet, but we will. We'll
Yeah,
try.
but we haven't been doing it every week.
Right,
We're-
and
so-
but we did talk about Jacob Rice, who also scored his thousandth point.
And we did
So-
talk about Trey James
Yeah.
as the triple-double guy
Well,
earlier in the year.
Yes, and I think Trey has a lot of growing to do, but I think he's going to be somebody that
Oh,
you want to
yeah.
watch. I mean, you're not going to not watch somebody who's 6'11".
Right.
So
Right.
so we are trying to give love everywhere we can, and as always, I got a lot of communication this week from people that wanted their kids to kind of be talked about. So anything you can give us is great. We'll use it. We'll go with it. If we don't put it in the podcast, we'll put it on Twitter. We want to expose your kids, and let everybody know all their accomplishments, whether they're big or small.
Right.
So that's what we're doing.
Top 5? You want to go first? You go first.
You go first.
My top 5 this week: Scott County number 1.
Yep.
Trinity number 2.
Okay.
Covington Catholic number 3.
Okay.
Madison Central number 4. Butler number 5.
Okay, we are very similar. I'm not picking from my heart because I get roasted every time I do that. Scott County 1, Cupcake 2, Trinity, Butler, and Madison Central.
So basically, same 5
Same
teams,
5,
just a
just
couple
different.
flip-flop.
Yeah,
So,
because I had Madison Central on that little 3-way tie last week, so
well, I think they've gotten themselves out of that.
they have
three-way
shown
tie.
themselves out of that 3-way tie. So
Right.
I was just so iffy about
So
everybody.
we've got 2 teams both in our top 5 that are going to play this week.
I
Covington
know.
and Madison Central. So
So those are top 5 teams. Get out to that game.
right.
Yes. Tweet us scores too. You guys are kind of like we're getting your player accomplishments and stuff, but we want to know who's winning
Yeah,
games.
we can't be at every game. I mean, usually she's at Johnson Central game, and I'm at the Clark County game
He
on the
coaches.
bench. So I do go to games when I'm available.
Right, and we go sometimes. So
Right. So we can't tweet everything out, but if you
Right.
guys send us stuff or
I've
just
got
tag
somebody.
us in somebody else's tweet.
I've got somebody actually in the 13th though that has kept me updated on every 13th
Right.
region game that he can go to. Mikey Hobbs. So I want to
Right,
give him some
Mikey
love.
Hobbs, yeah.
Yeah. So be that person for us. Nobody wants to sit around and wait for. And the KHSA scoreboard's a great thing.
But you have to call the game. That doesn't update till one of the coaches from the other team
Right,
calls
and that can
after
be
the
up to
game's
24
over.
hours.
Right.
So we're real time.
There's a lot of people out there too on social media, newspaper people
Yes.
that will tweet out live updates. So
Mhm.
if you see something,
Let us know.
just put us in it, tag us in it, at us so that we know that we can retweet it
And I
out.
retweet everybody that ever tweets us, unless it's something like rude.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I retweet anybody.
Which you'll
that
probably
tweets.
get one of those from the Western
Well,
Hills
that's
person
fine.
probably this
I
week.
don't hate Western Hills, but John's a jerk, and we know it. So
Right, I am a jerk.
anyway, I think that's it for the week. We got our top 5. We got our player of the week. We got our game of the week.
Next week we'll be talking about it'll be that time of the year next
I'm
week.
excited.
Oh man.
What I'm trying to work out for us, though, John, is to actually be able to do this at Rupp for the Sweet 16.
So maybe I'm not available then. I mean, I'm just saying there's a chance that I could be actually involved in what's going on.
I know, but we do it on Sundays, so
Hey, If I'm playing on Sunday, referee, good luck. I've been there once. Once.
Yeah, I think he wants to flash that ring again.
I don't have to. Just also, shout out to Western. They're still ahead of Marshall in the Conference USA
Oh
standings.
God, do we have to? Do we have
There's
to do
a
that?
6'9" bearded guy that just gave me a look on the other side of this camera. I just want
Listen,
y'all to
we
know
should-
that.
Listen, we really have to talk about how we have a Mr. Basketball as our cameraman. There's
We
just
do. We do. We also have to talk about how both of us got out of our vehicles and one was wearing a Western shirt and one was wearing a
That's
Marshall
true.
shirt. It was not planned. It was
he just
not
knew
planned.
he knew you to do it though. I didn't tell him either. But yeah, we are so legit people that we have a Mr. Basketball running this camera. So listen to us. We're good. That's it for the week. Unless you got anything else.
Like I always say, go watch your teams play. Let us know, tag us, add us, let us know what's going on. And until next week,
Please rate and review us on iTunes.
yeah, don't give us a 1. Kayla gets in her feelings.
I have feelings I can't help it.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys next week.
See ya.